My name is Andy Milton. I'm pleased to invite you all to Hitachi's client showcase. Sorry. What we're going to do today is look at how Vane ID5 can be integrated into various other platforms. And we're going to start with Ubisecure. Ubisecure was a partner that was actually probably the first partner we talked to about a potential alliance because of their innovative approach and cloud approach to doing customer IAM. It seemed a very good fit in using our technology in a flexible way to enable people that don't necessarily access the service every day or access it in a slightly different method to get access. So I'm going to hand over to John Clark from Ubisecure, and John's going to start the day off. So good morning, John.
Morning, Andy, and thanks for the intro, and welcome everybody on the call today. I'm going to take you through a short selection of slides and a couple of demos that will outline both Ubisecure and, of course, how we integrate with Hitachi Vane ID5. Really excited to be here, so I will crack on and get going straight away. Just a little bit about Ubisecure. So we are specialists, as Andy mentioned, in the CIAM space. So we, since 2002, have been managing the digital identity of customers, citizens, contractors, partners, everyone outside of your enterprise that needs to gain access to either applications or web services. The Ubisecure platform, identity platform, helps to manage. A quick stat: we founded in the Nordics and can quite confidently say that we are the #1 provider of CIM services and solutions in the Nordics. In Finland alone, every single Finnish adult will use the Ubisecure platform 3 or 4 times a month at least. Now that could be to access one of over 20 government departments that we support, or equally it could be to access their mobile phone bill. We support all the major telco providers in the region, or it could be to access a significant utility bill and have the ability to gain access and look at what those bills are telling you. So we've been established a long time. We have got a very robust solutions and services in place, and I'm delighted to be able to talk to you in a little bit more detail about it today. I'm going to hand back over to Andy, who's going to just give some more background on the solution itself.
Okay, so the reason we sort of chose to partner together was using biometrics to identify someone obviously increases the level of effectiveness in doing so. So for years, people have used usernames and passwords as a method to identify a person. And even if we look at two-factor authentication or other methods, we're always relying on things that people know or things that people have. So they're equally able to be possessed or borrowed or loaned or stolen by other people. But what we do differently is by using Vane ID5 and in conjunction with a platform like Ubisecure, we can absolutely prove the user's identity and then manage the services and the resources that user then accesses to make sure they're accessing what they're entitled to, and actually proving that user was the person that accessed those services and made that either transaction or started that process. So, more and more we see issues with breaches from password stuffing. I think I read a report the other day from Akamai that said last quarter alone, there was 88 billion password stuffing attempts. So this is stolen usernames and passwords that hackers are trying to push into other sites to try and gain access to services that they don't have the rights to access or use. And more, we're seeing this activity. I think that was a rise, they said, of about 70% year on year. And as we look at that, that really starts to cause problems for customers and for providers of services to anybody as a third party. Making sure that the person accessing that service is the right person, and that's how we can do that with Vein ID 5. Next slide, please, John. So what we see is by using Vein ID 5, the user simply raises their hand to the standard laptop camera. Now, this technology is new and very exciting, but Hitachi have been doing this for over 20 years. For the last 20 years, we've been able to identify a person by them placing their finger on a reader and us reading their vein pattern within that finger. Whilst that technology has been proven as one of the most secure and robust biometrics, the challenge has always been the cost associated with the readers and the issues of carrying around additional hardware. And the shift we see now in using a standard laptop camera suddenly opens up a whole host of different opportunities, and that's what we're going to talk about today. Is suddenly this will open up services, enable us to, through the OpenID protocol, connect to lots of different systems at the back end that provide the services that the users want to access. So this is now how we're going to do this, and let's look at that in a little bit more detail. John, sorry, next page. So as I said, the user just simply presents their hand to their laptop camera. The laptop camera scans their finger veins within the central parts of their fingers. We then encrypt that and store that with AES-256 encryption, and then that user then has a unique template. Now, one of the questions we often get asked is what happens if someone steals that or does something with that? Isn't the user already always compromised? The answer is no. But because of the way in which our solution works, we mix the template that's captured, and by template, it's not an image, it's a mathematical representation, as you can see in step 5, of the finger vein pattern. And we mix that with something called a salt, which enables us to create a unique template for that user created on that system. So that means that we have, if anybody ever did breach it, we're not ever giving up the identity of the user. What we're doing is actually giving up the identity of a single template, and we can rebuild that. So John's going to talk a little bit more about the integration and the process and how these two things work. But I think for me, the most important thing is thinking about the identity of the user through the whole process. And now we know, but by identifying them with something that is completely unique to them, we can make sure that the user accessing the services is the user that's entitled to, and not somebody who's borrowed their credentials, stolen them, been loaned them, or even has written them down and copied them. So, John, please.
Thanks, Andy. So, as Andy mentioned there, so the kind of the end-to-end piece connecting both Hitachi and Ubisecure is this need and very, very prominent priority for organisations to manage the identity of anyone trying to access their web applications and services. So customers, partners looking to get legitimate access need to have the confidence that their data is secure, that when they authenticate, they know they're going through to the right service. And there are a number of different use cases. As you can see on the right-hand side here, there's several different use cases that will then give a user access to the relevant service or application that they're trying to get into. So this kind of shows just the kind of the end-to-end piece and how it's integrated. Obviously, you have Ubisecure providing the solutions to rapidly build an identity management capability for desktop applications, web and mobile as well. And we've got some of the use cases listed here, all of which are optimized for integration with Hitachi Vein ID 5. So let me just take you through a couple of these now. Back to the kind of the typical business drivers. So as Andy mentioned, also the user experience is key. Security around data breaches is of course of high priority. We're seeing data breaches on a daily basis all over the news, and it's something that organisations are now really waking up to, and they can't ignore. And typically, those attack vectors are coming in from the outside. Organisations have got very good at protecting people within inside their firewalls within the enterprise. So hackers and the people that want to do bad things with data are now looking for other vectors to be able to get into, and that's typically around either customers or even your supply chain or partners, third parties that do have access. How are you going to be able to protect those? Control is a major consideration as well, around assets that are available to users, and ultimately cost. There is a significant cost involved, certainly from a data breach perspective, but from a user perspective, being able to provide self-service and self-registration facilities for an organisation means that they can remove cost from their service side and pump that back into the business. So just want to give you a couple of examples now. So this first example combines Vein ID 5, the password replacement, and Ubisecure's single sign-on. Single sign-on is one of our core solutions. And this takes into account a financial services use case. So you have a customer here, and typically with an individual, they may have several different financial services companies or organizations that they work with, whether that be insurance, pension, mortgage, savings. And as we all know, many organizations are acquiring each other, so building larger organizations. And for you as a customer, you may have a mortgage which is now converted into another organization or insurance of some kind. And those types of policies, some of them you will go into regularly, so you will potentially remember how to get in, how to access. But equally, you will have some of those policies and accounts that you may only access once a year, or certainly very, very infrequently. When they get combined in different organizations, you may have a great big organization that now looks after 3 or 4 of your accounts. What is the best way and the most secure way and the easiest way to access those accounts now? So Hitachi provides a superb solution for being able to unify a user's account details and login details and authentication to be able to access those various different accounts that individual may have. So negating the need for multiple usernames and passwords, being able to provide a more integrated and seamless customer experience, because customers, if they start to get bored or if they start to think, well, I've got to remember 10 passwords, their attention and their engagement is going to drop dramatically, and that's bad for the organization. So by using the Hitachi biometric authentication method, you have this robust way of ensuring that the customer not only can gain access in the right way, but then once they've gained access through the single sign-on process, they can gain the right access to the right applications and services over here on the right that they need. Now, I'm going to just show you a quick demo that will highlight that. You have to excuse me. I'm going to come out of this very quickly. Here we go. Let me just play that. Right. So this is a demo. This is obviously not a real financial services organisation, but it proves the point that I've just been talking about around how to gain access through Hitachi Vein ID 5. So going to login, and then instantly you're greeted with the login page, the Vein ID login page. Once you've put in some basic information, you're then going to be asked to capture. Adam, I don't know if Adam's on the call, but yeah, Adam is very kindly showing the demo here. So literally you have to hold your hand up to the image on the screen. That will then be recognized and you're immediately in. This then, as you can see here in the example, you've got various different accounts: savings, pensions, life insurance, mortgage. You're already in. And through the single sign-on process, you will now be able to gain access to those various different accounts. As you can see, no need to add any more authentication methods in there. No need to add any more usernames and passwords. You're seamlessly jumping between each of the different accounts. Okay, so simple in itself, and usable, so that it gives the ability for organizations to be able to provide that really robust customer experience while also protecting individual and organizational data at the same time. So that's the first use case. Going to the next one. The second one. This is a slightly more complex use case, but nevertheless one that's becoming even more and more important, and one that the Hitachi and Ubisecure collaboration supports entirely. So delegated identity management. The use case here is you have a company X up here. Company X is run by Bob and several colleagues. Now, Company X could equally be a startup or could be a more established organization. Both of those types of enterprises and organizations from time to time will need to outsource certain elements of the business operations. That could be anything from HR and payroll to auditing and accounting. It could be corporate tax that they would need to potentially outsource as part of a business operation to another organization. So in this case, Bob is looking for legal advice. They are preparing some legal documents. Bob wants to include Marta as an external, but allow Marta to have access to provide certain activities on behalf of Bob's company. Bob will send Marta or create a new user and invite Marta to join this either enterprise or project team or group in order to carry out those activities. At that point, during the registration process, Marta will use Vein ID 5 to prove who she is. And then once she's been proven and has become a user and a part of that cohort, then the next step is Marta, who could be quite easily the managing director or the leader of that organization. So she may not actually be carrying out the work on behalf of Bob's company. Marta then has the ability to invite colleagues to carry out the activities on the behalf of Bob's company. So all through this process, the Ubisecure platform can manage and keep an audit of the identities of those individuals that have been given authority to act on the organization's behalf. I'm going to show you another quick use case here. So this is this starts off with the invite email. It can come in multiple languages. Obviously, we have Finnish up here, but we have the English down here. So you will get the invite email. That will then, with the link, allow you to go and register. So you have the page here, which then allows you to register. This is the Ubisecure page, but you will sign in on the first time as to register using Vein ID 5. This then, again, familiar page, bit of information. There's a little bit more here. This time you're talking about username, whether you're going to use your right hand or left hand, and what type of camera you're using. Again, hello, Adam. And then very simply, you're now into the system. This first page here displays some of your personal info. So it looks at simple first name, last name, and information that you granted, along with a unique user identifier. And then you look at you can get a view and a look at the roles that have been assigned to you. So in the use case I just described, Marta could be assigned by Bob's company a super user role, which will therefore allow her to then delegate even further into her organization the authority to act on the organization's behalf. And it will also show any potential mandates. So these mandates will be for specific activities, specific roles that Marta and or her team can carry out on behalf of Bob's company. Just play that through. There we go. So we just come back to that. So as you can see, it's a very smooth, a very agile process in order to provide that authority and that delegated identity. But it's also a very, very robust process in terms of Ubisecure. We've been running processes like this for the last decade. So there's complete confidence in the way that it operates. And I think now with Vein ID 5, it adds that extra layer of security and strength around the data protection. So what do we deliver? In summary, protection against data breaches. It's absolutely key that, as Andy mentioned at the beginning, you can securely authenticate users trying to gain access. There are a number of different use cases that can be associated with this, right from single sign-on, the registration workflows that you've just seen that leads through to the delegation, and others. Interestingly, there is a demand now, or a use case now, for, especially with people working from home, and even kids and school-age children working from home. How do they access their school or their college or their university platforms in a secure way that protects not only them but also the organisation? And by utilising Vein ID 5, particularly if you've got younger kids, you know, at junior school, for example, this gives a perfect way for them to sign in every morning to their potential school and learning activities. That then feeds into the frictionless user experience. It's fast, it's simple, it really is easily integrated into any applications and services that an organisation may have, and it simplifies compliance. Compliance on a daily basis now is evolving, and certainly all the big known compliance activities like GDPR have to be managed on a daily basis. This will help an organisation do all of that. So in summary, it's the combined strengths of Ubisecure and Hitachi can provide organizations and enterprises with a singularly robust way of authenticating users and then managing their data in the most secure way. And that's it. So I'd hand back to Andy. Thank you. Andy, can you hear us?
Yeah, sorry, left myself on mute for a second. So the first thing I was going to suggest, if anybody has any questions, if you'd like to type them into the chat now, and we can go through them with John or one of the Ubisecure team in a second. Right. Okay. So Barack would like to ask a question. I don't know. Okay.
So the question, where do you store the templates of the users at the server side or on the local computer?
Yeah. So,
Andy, do you want to take your side first?
yeah, so the templates are stored. Sorry, Adam, do you want to explain this? You're better at this one than me. Are you?
Yeah, so with our application password replacement,
You're very quiet.
there we go, that would help. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay, good. I was just saying that with our application password replacement offering, which is what you saw demonstrated by John today, the template is stored securely on server side, since we're using the OpenID Connect standard to perform the authentication.
Okay. Hopefully that covers the question from Barack. Has anybody else got any other questions? Yeah, he says thanks. Okay, so just as a little summary, thank you very much, John. I think for everybody today, it's interesting to see how effective the user experience can progress with this solution, moving from what has become, especially in recent times, more troublesome, remembering passwords, remembering how you look after all of these things as they've started to become longer and more complicated. The frustrations that users feel with constantly forgetting passwords, and the ability to have something that's as straightforward as the vein pattern within their hand, and simply by raising their hand to the camera, they become authenticated. And then combined with Ubisecure, with the services that John has shown you today, I think it becomes very compelling. A user being able to delegate authority simply by effectively passing that role to somebody else is, I think, we've moved from a different working environment over the last few months, and we've now started to need to work in different ways, and delegated authority in a home working environment will become more important, and how we do that safely and effectively will become absolutely critical. And the efficiency of enabling customers as well to access the correct resources and make use of that, I think becomes key for many of the businesses that we're going to deal with and work with in the future. So if nobody else has any other questions, I would like to thank John very much for his time, and hopefully we will see you on some of the other sessions later on. We've got quite a lot of variety coming up today doing different things, so it'll be interesting to get some feedback at the end of the day on what everybody thought to all the different sessions. So if that's everything, thank you very much, everybody, and we will catch you later. Bye.
Thank you, Andy.
Thanks, John.